one who knows the truth. A warrior that destroys civilizations. A rider that can avenge the fallen.
We're here at Amsterdam at the Darksiders II hands-on event, and we're here with
Han Randwana, and I'm the art director on Darksiders II.
Yeah, and as an art director, and you have Joe as an inspiration for the whole Darksiders universe. What especially is your position? What are you doing for Darksiders?
Right, so basically Joe's our creative director, so he comes up with the high-level ideas and concepts for what the characters may look like. One of the things we expand on that, one of my jobs is to expand on the environments that basically are being created, because Joe focuses a lot on the characters and, you know, what does a Joe Mad environment look like? And so that's kind of my job, to flesh that out, and it's a very big part of the game. Obviously because of traversal, the action, the combat. Also, when Joe does concepts, he'll do kind of like sketches and ideas, and so those are not really ready for production guy to work on. So what I work with the concept guys, and we translate that into something that the production guys can work on, which is something which is like, you know, front, back, and side. And also, you know, if there's elements that Joe hasn't put in there, then it's my familiarity with Joe's style. I can expand on work that he hasn't done or it doesn't exist. You know, anything that he hasn't created, we can extrapolate that and make that part of the Joe Mad universe. So it's my job to look at all the assets also as we build production and we build the environments and the characters. I have leads who work with me also, but also it's my job ultimately to make sure that these things look like a consistent vision and they look like, you know, the Joe Mad style that we intended.
So you're working very closely together to get it. So I can imagine that maybe you're sitting in the room and say, Joe, we need this done, does it feel like, I don't know, that working with the brother or something, because you have to be very close to him to get this?
Well, you know, we definitely fall in the same kind of the things that we like from the style point of view. So, you know, like we like anime and manga. I think one of the reasons why I end up doing the job anyway is because my familiarity with Joe's style and just the ideas and the science fiction and the fantasy and the comic books that we're into are very similar. So our thought process is very similar anyway. Obviously, he's the talented artist. So basically, you know, the guy, no one can really be Joe Mad. Joe Mad's Joe Mad. So, but I get where the style is coming from, and I have to break it down and translate that to the artist. So, you know, I might draw myself. I might draw on the whiteboard, or I might paint over. Sometimes I get, you know, either environment pieces or character pieces that basically they need feedback on, and so I'll adjust that in my paint overs to explain where they've gone wrong and where they got to go back into the style of Joe. So that's essentially, I'm always trying to keep the style consistent. That's how I'm always trying to make sure the game looks like a unified vision.
Yes, the style of Darksiders is it's kind of unique because of this comic style and get into a video game version. Yeah. What are the difficulties to create this comic look and still having a video game?
Basically, you know, obviously we want to keep it like we're a very colorful game, so because we like color a lot. We don't want to do this next generation game that's all kind of gray or you know, kind of like, you know, brown or something. So you know, it is kind of a challenge. We have a lot of tools at our disposal. You know, our artists are very talented because, you know, we want to have a painted texture style, but we also want to keep the next gen normal style. So, you know, our guys are versed in color, you know, and composition, and basically, you know, but we also have like a lot of tricks in the engine as well, which we can do, like, you know, our lighting, and we have something called a color lookup table, which basically is a screen effect that allows us to color and tint various parts of the game. So we get kind of like nice, colorful backdrops for these characters. So yeah, so we have a lot of tools at our disposal, as well as just the pure art. As challenging as it is, I think it's pretty good.
And there are 4 characters for Darksiders, and we know that you want to have each game a different style. So now Death, we have a more I don't know. For me, it looks more like hip hop character. I don't know. And
I think Joe would like that.
yeah. And how do you create always a special world for each character?
Well, I mean, with War, you know, it also depends on his abilities as well, and like, you know, his style of combat. So for War, for us was, you know, he's a very you know, kind of duty-bound, heroic kind of soldier kind of type of guy. So basically, he meets force with force. You know, he's kind of a guy who basically, you know, he's like an unstoppable juggernaut. And, you know, he has some traversal ability, but not as much as Death. Death's a much more agile character. You know, he's a thinking guy. He won't block. He'll kind of like, you know, he'll move around a lot and basically be able to counterattack. And, you know, the traversal's a lot more complicated in Darksiders II. You know, as is the story and as is the depth of the environment. You know, the questing, you can customize the character. So this kind of makes sense for us anyway for this character. So that's how the style is also developed. So we want to keep him. If he's going to move around and he's more agile, then obviously it stands to reason he should be a lighter looking character. He should feel like he's, he's not bulked out like a super armored soldier. And instantly you get a different look. So.
And what from the style point of view, how do you create this feeling that he is light?
Well, we have to craft the armor. First of all, we decided that basically we want to see his shape and silhouette a lot. With War, his armor makes his silhouette, and obviously he's a very broad guy anyway. And then with Death, we kind of try to keep as much of his top area open and try to reveal more of his kind of like, so he's more of most of his armor is lower ended, but we have like some shoulder pads and arm work. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of more like kind of gladiator style kind of like armor where it's lightweight. But that's the idea. His idea is not to be heavily armored. His idea is to be very agile, move out the way and counterattack. That's why actually he doesn't have block, really. I mean, we have block with War. That's why he will meet a force with force, you see, because he can block. And so we've crafted all the armor and the loot to make sure that we keep that kind of slim style to him. So.
And what we can expect in the dungeons? What are they? What tone does they have?
So the dungeons are across 4 zones. You know, you'll be going from everything from like, you know, stone citadels to demonic kind of like fortresses. You know, angelic towers, and you know there'll be like water areas. There's quite a few areas for you to go to. You'll be like doing swimming, and there's like volcanic, you know, lava areas. So there's a vast amount of areas. So
I would have expected that if you have Death, we going to hell or maybe something like that.
Well, that's kind of like the typical kind of, I think the idea, that's the first idea you would think of, like, okay, well, why don't we send this guy to hell? Well, he's going to a demonic area anyway, which is kind of like hell. But our story is about him going across and questing across different lands to find the answer to, how was his brother War, you know, accused of starting the apocalypse. So, and also if he just goes to everything's demonic and death, it becomes kind of like very same. And you know, you need the player to get like a visual break. And also, you know, the mood can change using the visuals as well. So, you know, you want to feel like you go from like a brightly lit forested area to a bone desert kind of thing, you know. So basically, you know, so it feels different. So you feel like you're getting different challenges, different, you know, visual challenges as well. So
okay, but so we don't see the typical demonic stuff.
Oh, you will. We got that stuff as well. So, you know, we definitely gonna do demonic and angel, which is the staple of Darksiders. So we want to stay faithful to Darksiders, you know, the stuff that we built in for the fans. But then also we're expanding on other areas. You know, like today you looked at the Makers area, and you know, you may remember Ulthane from the first film, from the first game films. So basically, you know, we felt this is a very interesting character for us, and you know, people seem to resonate with that character, and we liked him. We felt we could develop him further. So our idea was, let's expand on his universe. Let's expand on his, you know, his what are his people like? What's the area they live in? What's that like? So, you know, you're getting a chance to see other Darksiders, Denzians, you know, as well as demons and angels, which of course we will have that too.
And maybe a bit like a forecast. What do we expect in the future? These games. What style do they maybe have?
Well, really, we're kind of focused on Darksiders 2, but we have a lot of information. We have a lot of kind of like story, and the lore can be expanded into the other horsemen, of course. But you know, whatever we do, we'll always end up building it on what we've already done. So same with Darksiders 1, we built Darksiders 2 based on Darksiders 1. You know, we'll expand more, but we'll keep faithful to the universe, and we're getting pretty close to what, you know, the visual that we're looking for, especially here at Vigil. You know, the house style that we want to have, the stylization, because, you know, for us, stylization has longevity as well, and plus it has, you know, we want it to feel like its own placement in the game world. We don't want it to fall into, like, you know, a game that is easily forgotten and, you know, like just looks like a realistic game that, you know, there's so many out there. Okay.
So you can't tell us who's the next horseman and what or she, there's a she,
yeah,
female too.
Potentially, we don't know yet. But yeah, that kind of information is probably for later times. So,
okay, so
I do want to say that basically, like I said, the way the story goes, the way it intertwines, there's so much information, it can expand to a lot of infinite possibilities.
Ooh, so more than Darksiders 4, maybe.
Who knows?
Okay, thank you for the interview.
All right, nice to meet you.
One who will remind the guilty what starts with war